Hey everyone, welcome back to another video lesson, and this is the class 3 of Let's Read Korean, and in this chapter we are going to study a new rule today. So you will be able to read words like these. Let me write one for you. So how would you read this word? So when you have two bachams, how do you read the words those who have two bachams? So we are going to study that thing. And it's not so difficult. This gonna be easy. Okay, and what if you have words like this? So there are two conditions. One is like the words like this, and one like this. Two rules we will be studying. Okay, both of these two follows different thing, and I will explain you that. So these are called double bacham, double final consonants, or you can say gyo bacham. Okay, so when you have two bachams, double bachams. And also, if you have not watched the class 2, must watch because if you want to read these types of words, then you need to watch class 2 as well. Okay, so you'll be in this chapter 2 is completely about mastering Korean words. Like you'll be able to read all types of Korean words. Okay, so this is also a doubt for you guys how to read this. So we will clearing this. We will be learning this rule. So let me write the first rule for you. So let me explain you the rule number 1. I'm sorry for the handwriting. Please don't uh, care about it. So in the rule 1, we have words like this. So what happens that in the class 2 you studied that if you have words uh, like this, what happens that you shift this one? No, not this one. This is also double bacham. No, I don't remember the words. I know them, but I don't remember them. Okay, so you can say just like Johayo or okay, we can take as so we can take check and we can put the particle of object marking particle over there. So this means just the same thing. This means book only, and we just added the object marking particle that we usually add in the writing Korean in the written Korean in any sentence. So we will study about this, but just for now, to forget that. What I'm going to explain you is that when you have this and the succeeding syllable contains ing at the beginning, so you shift it in there and so that its pronunciation becomes chegal. So this is how its pronunciation becomes. So uh, this is how it would be. Okay, so we studied this, right? So this something related to this happens same if you have double bottoms. So what you just do in these types of words is that the first one remains as it is. You just take the second one, second syllable, I mean the second bottom, and you shift it over here. And remember that you can only shift the bottom to the beginning of the next syllable if it has ing in the beginning because ing is silent and you can shift it over there. So thus it would become dalgi. I'm not saying you to write it like this. You don't have to write it like dalgi, like not like this. This is the pronunciation. Remember that this is the pronunciation and this one is how it's spelled. Okay? But you just pronounce it as dalgi as you shift the second one in there because the second syllable contains ing in the beginning. So this rule would be clear to you if you watch class 2 because there we discuss it even in detail. But still I explained to you and I think it's not so difficult that I need to explain you a lot about it. Okay. So regarding the rule number one, let me give you uh, two more examples. I have a lot of examples, but still just let me give you two examples for now because we'll practice more examples at the end. So can you read this word? We studied, right? That you shift this one if you have condition like this. If the condition is like this, you have a double bottom and in the second succeeding syllable there's young. What you going to do? You just have to just first one remains as it is and you shift the second one over there. It's spelled like this only. It would be spelled like this only, but it would be pronounced like Salmi. It will be pronounced like Salmi. This is how it's actually pronounced. Okay, and this is how it's spelled. Okay, I guess no doubt in this. And if you're still not clear with any part, you can just always comment. Comment section is always open for you. Feel free to ask anything. Okay, one more example. Okay, can you read this? We learned that if you have words like this, you just have to shift this to here, uh, and you can only shift if the beginning consonant contains ing. So if ing is there, but here it's giak, you can do that. You can do that. Okay, so it would be gap she. Okay, gap she. Let me clear it. So let's just quickly go to the rule number two. As it's not so difficult. The rule number one simple, and you should watch. And if you watch class number two, it would be easier for you. So let's go with rule number two now. Um. Okay, 1 minute. Let me change the color. So in this, you have words like this. One. You have words like this. How you gonna read this? Would you read this like dalk do? No, dalk do. It won't be correct. Dalk do won't be correct. Okay, dalk do won't be correct. So how you gonna read this? So in rule number two, you have to apply a little bit effort. You have to learn a little bit. So what you just have to remember, you have to memorize three double bottoms, and thus that's your work is done. You just have to remember three double bottoms. So what are those double bottoms? Let me write them for you over here in change color so that you don't have any confusion. Okay, so you have to remember these three. I'm sorry for the writing, don't mind it because it's not the pen, because I'm not writing it on the notebook, so that is the problem. Don't mind the handwriting. So what you have to remember is that there's three double bottoms. Let me write them for you. And if you just learn these three, if you just memorize these three, you can read these words in simple. Rule number two is clear for you if you just have memorized these three. So how are you gonna read them? Let me explain you now. So you have to always remember these three, right? So you just have to notice. So in rule number two, if you have a succeeding syllable or not, it doesn't matter at all. So if you have no succeeding syllable, like if you do not have though here, it doesn't matter. It won't be any change because in rule number two, the succeeding syllable matters a lot. It has the work of second syllable. But in rule number two, if there's second syllable, that's also okay. If you do not have second syllable, that's also okay. There's no use of second syllable. There's no role of the second syllable. All you just have to focus is on the first syllable, the syllable which contains the double bottom, not the first any syllable which contains the double bottom. That's the only syllable you have to focus on. When Okay, when you have when you okay, let me sorry. If you have young here, then you do have to focus in there. If you have young in the succeeding syllable, that you have to focus. But if there's no young, there's no use, there's no role of the second syllable. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain here. I'm sorry, I didn't told you that before. That if there's young, then you have to focus. Okay, what if here you found young? Then there's a big role of this syllable. But if there's no young, no role of the second syllable. Clear with it? So now let's see how do you read the words like these. So it's don't matter. I don't know if this is uh, actually meaningful if I do omit though here. So don't go mind that. You just have to focus on the rule here. Don't uh, go there. So if you have words like these, so you don't have any succeeding syllable. How would you shift? No need of shifting. You don't have any other succeeding syllable. No worries. You just have to apply rule number two. That is, you have to remember these three syllables which I told you to memorize. So if this here, if the double pacham is any of these three, then you pronounce the second syllable. You just do not pronounce the first syllable. I mean, not the second syllable, the second consonant, not the first consonant. Okay, and yeah, it is definitely like this. So this would become duck. Okay, because there it is one of those things. So this is there, it is there, so you do have to pronounce the second syllable. Okay, in any other double bachir you just pronounce the first syllable. Okay, let me give you example. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I got an example. Now you just have to look at if it is any of these three. No, it is apart from these three. So what you just do is you pronounce the first syllable. You do not pronounce the second syllable. So I mean, I'm saying syllable again. You just have to pronounce the first consonant, not the second consonant. Okay, so thus its pronunciation would become mokto. Okay, I hope you're clear with it. It's not something difficult. So in rule number two, there's no role of the second syllable because in rule number two, what happens that the second syllable does not contains ing. If it contains ing, the succeeding syllable contains ing, then you just apply the rule number one. But if not, then there's no role of it. So what if it contains ing? If it contains ing, then no omitting, you just shift this over here. Okay, but here we do not have ing, so just forget about the second syllable. If you do not have ing in the second syllable, then just forget about it and focus on the main syllable that contains the double bachim, that is contains the gyor bachim, and see if it is one of these three, and if it's one of these three, then you pronounce the second syllable and you omit the I mean, you just pronounce the second consonant and you omit the sound of the first consonant. Okay, I know it is confusing for you for the very first time, but you will get used to it. Let me give you examples. Okay, here you have to practice now with examples, and here we have mixed rule 1 and rule 2. So you have to see how the words like if the second syllable, if the succeeding syllable contains ing in the beginning consonant placement, then you know what you have to do. You have to just shift, and if it does not contain ing in the second syllable, or if it does not have second syllable, you just use the rule number 2. Okay, so I have a lot of words for you. Let's go for it. So I guess we have done this, but let's do it again as a summary. So I will be writing many words at once. Okay, let me write them neatly with a different color. Okay. sorry, it's S, okay? It's a shit, okay? So you can skip this part because I'm here writing for you, and then we will discuss it all. You can skip a few seconds more. You can skip some seconds. Okay, first let's just write four words. Mm, okay. So as you can see that these words, those who have the geopathems, in they are same. Just they have this. I mean, that they have the second syllable different. The second syllable is different, right? So the second syllable contains different rules. So you have to now read these words. So how are you gonna read this? I'm sorry for the writing, but I guess you are able to read this. As in the second syllable, there's young. Let me change the color for you so that you don't have any confusion. Okay, so as the second syllable contains ing in the beginning consonant, as these both would meet, thus it would become salmi. But this is how it's pronounced. You just have to pronounce it salmi, but you won't write it like this. If you write it like this, it would be wrong. The spelling remains the same. I'm just telling you that you have to shift the pronunciation, not the spelling actually. Okay? So now how would you read this? Sam though. No, you won't read this Sam though. Or would you? Would you read this as Sal though or Sam though? Remember those three Gyopachams I told you to remember? So this is one of them. It is one of them. So you would pronounce this as Sam though. Sam though. Okay, that I said Sam though would be wrong because I wanted to just play with you. I'm sorry, it's is Sam though only. Okay, and those who read it as Samdo, but when I said it's not Samdo, it, you should be confident, right? That this is the rule and it has to be like that. It would be like that. And there's nothing in these things, in this topic, it's not something irregular type of thing. Okay, can you read this? It's simple. The second, they both would meet, so it would become gap she, gapshi. And this one, it would become gapto, gapto. Why? Because in this you would pronounce the first one because and omit the second one because it is not one of those three Kyopachems you have to remember, right? It's not one of them, but this was one of them. So we pronounced the second one, okay? I guess you're having no doubt in this, but still I will give you more examples. Okay, a very common example let me give you. So we have this, and the only difference between both of them is that this one is conjugated and this one is the dictionary form. Okay, it's conjugated in the present. So what? How would you pronounce this? This would be pronounced as opta because it is one of those three. It is one of those. It no, so it is apart from those three. We have to remember. It's not one of those three. Okay, it's not one of them. It's apart from this, right? So you would pronounce as opta. And here as this would shift in here, you pronounce it as opso. And what if you have words like this? Could you be able to read this? And would you be able to read this? Here you think that, oh, I don't have any succeeding syllable, what to do? When you do not have any succeeding syllable, you prefer rule number 2, which means, see, uh, if you have second syllable, if it's not containing ing in the beginning, then there's no role of the second syllable. So here's also no ing because there's no syllable. So you just pronounce it as you have to pronounce the words, as you pronounce the words like these. So you pronounce it as nak, nak, because it is, you will pronounce this because it as is actually it's not a part of these three, right? So nak. One more example. How would pronounce this? You'll pronounce it as dak because this is uh it is in these three, right? In the list of these three. So if you do not have any second syllable, you know how to read it. If you have second syllable, then you just have to check if it is containing ing in the beginning. If it is containing ing in the beginning consonant, you would meet them, they would shift, and you just pronounce it how I told you. But if does not have ing in the beginning placement, then you don't have to do anything with the second syllable. You just have to focus on the first syllable. That's how you have to pronounce them according to all these three syllables. If it's apart from these or in these, okay, just remember that when you have these three, you pronounce the second one, the second consonant. Okay, the lesson has gone too long. It's been 22 minutes lesson, and I didn't wanted it to be too long. I just wanted it to be a 10 minutes lesson, but had gone too long. But it's okay. We actually studied it in detail, so it's important to be clear with the concept. So that is it. I guess no doubt. If you have any doubt, I tried to clear all of your doubts in this video. But still having any doubts, comment section is open for you. Just comment and feel free to ask any single thing, whether it's related to the video or not related to the video. Any current related question can be asked. Okay. So let's end it up here. Uh, Wait, let me give you. Okay, no, not here. I will give you the words in the comment section as a practice. So you have to read those words, and you can get the correct. You can match the correct pronunciation of those at the Instagram account of mine, and the link would be in the description. Okay, so let's end it up here. Thank you for watching. I hope you have understood it very well. Bye bye.